The hitman. Fig the slaughter artist. What do I do? I need to help you. Leave me here. Just seek the truth. Whoa! Your soul actually came out! So this is spectral projection. It's strange to see myself outside my own body. If you won't stop, then I must stop you. For this world's sake. For the sake of peace and quiet. You're not making any sense! You're gonna kill me because of a feeling? As for the oh no, we're gonna get into no chief. Yeah, the chief had a role in this. There's not a chance. I can already see it. I think that's his picture. I kind of wish they did do like different scenarios per case, but I understand like that, you know, they probably wanted to limit their budget on the amount of like mystery labyrinths I mean, like within the mystery labyrinths they changed scenarios, but like I was kind of like hoping that it would change like the outside too, almost kind of like a Persona Palace or something. Again with the falling? Why can't you ever be a gentle landing? Oh, Vivia, this is called the Mystery Labyrinth. So this place is a physical manifestation of mysteries from the case. You can tell? Well, anyway, this actually isn't my forte. It's due to the power of death. Her, right? Huh? So you really could see me this whole time? He could? It's due to my spiritual affinity. Ever since I was young, I've been able to see otherworldly things. My forte was gained through training that innate talent. Though I wasn't able to see her clearly like this before. I could tell you were talking with some haze following you around, but that was it. Until one day, I used my spectral projection at the agency and saw the death god clear as crystal. After that, I did some research. I discovered that the WDO underground book vault held something called the Book of Death, and also that someone had taken it. Did I take it? Before I lost my memories? I don't know. Since you're a rookie, I doubt you have any access to the book vault. Only a handful of people have WDO clearance like that. Just a handful? Anyway, you've been using this ability to solve other cases up till now, haven't you? Yeah. So this is also related to the mysterious deaths of all those culprits? My guess is clearing the labyrinth, a materialization of the mystery, causes its true perpetrator to die. If that's the case, you've killed a lot of people with your own hands, Yuma. Well, I didn't really kill anyone. It's just what happens when... Nope, I may be the one reaping their souls, but the blood is still on your hands. Hey! No point in pretending to be a goody two-shoes. You're risking your life to solve these mysteries. I see. So you're determined to do this, huh? Sorry, but I don't think I have the kind of conviction myself. So I think I'll take a nap here while you go and risk your life. You can sleep if you want, but you won't be able to get out. Is that so? If you're not with Master when and if he solves the labyrinth, this place will collapse around you. Well, if you don't have any regrets in the world, you're free to die here. Regrets. I don't have any of those, but there are still things I left unfinished. Especially after you expose the mystery of the case. What do you mean by that? I'll be perfectly clear. I'm just going to tag along. I'll leave the heavy lifting to you. I don't care what you do, just don't get in our way. Well, Master, let's do our usual. Yeah, okay. Master, are you ready to give your life for the truth? I am. You know, you could have just, like, pulled it out of your booba and that, you know. You could have pulled, like, a Raiden Shogun and just, like, pull it out of your booba. Now I gotta do this, you know, weird deep throating thing. I mean, hey, man, Shinigami's throat game is strong. Can't deny raw talent like that, you know? Is that sword for cutting through mysteries? This place must be pretty dangerous. Here you go, Master! Here's your solution key. Is that key something like a clue for the case? Wow, looks like you're ready to go. Could you be more of a downer? Whatever, I'm gonna ignore you. So let's go and unriddle this mystery labyrinth. Let's hunt down this culprit who preys on the truth. We have to walk? This is unbearable. Come on! You're bumming me out here. I thought you were gonna ignore him. Hey, pal. You just blowing from stupid town. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's so good. Yo, it's fucking balls hot, man. I can't stand this shit, dude. Like, I'm getting obliterated. There's severe levels of swamp ass in my area, so I am recording currently shirtless and sweating my balls off, pretty much. Just figured you all should know that. Oh, anyway, alright. Gotta get comfortable. Say, Vivia, do you remember anything about the case? You mean Dr. Huska's murder? Or are you talking about when Chief Yako was attacked? Huh? You remember? Everyone else that came here lost their memories. That's pretty rare. Must be because of his whole spiritual thing. So the others lost their memories. That's why no one remembers this death god. How rude of them! It's thanks to yours truly that those cases got solved. That reminds me, I used my coalescence with Fubuki before Vivia, but Vivia is the only one who came into the mystery labyrinth. I guess coalescence got overwritten. Maybe it only takes the most recent ability. I don't know either way. You don't know? But coalescence is your power, Shinigami. Relax, will ya? Minor detail. You would have been better off with Fubuki. She would have been far more useful for this case. It doesn't matter anyway. No one can use their forte here. Oh, so now I really don't have anything to do. Thank goodness. What a relief. Jeez, you ever think your lack of motivation could be contagious? Hey, relax. I mean, I don't really want to push Vivia's buttons anymore than we have because, like, the dude was about to kill me, so we at least came to a mutual agreement. So if he wants to be a lazy piece of shit this trial, I don't care. Not like he can use his powers anyway. Oh, there's a mystery! First question of the day. What is behind door number 2? I told you to stop surprising me like that! I thought this labyrinth would only require your wits, but it looks like it's going to take more than that, Yuma. Well, he doesn't have a whole lot of wits, so he doesn't have a choice. Oh, so we don't even have, like, a question because we don't really know what the hell is going on. Well, to be fair, this is kind of a mystery culprit. Because, obviously, like, we don't really know the identity of the hooded figure. And basically, like, you could honestly argue that, like, anyone who is currently present at Amaterasu Corporation's lab it can potentially be a suspect. Now, obviously, like, due to, like, eyewitness accounts at the time and, like, the facts will at least, like, eliminate a lot of the suspects. But as of right now, we don't really have, like, a cast of, like, suspects. Like, basically just anyone at the lab is a suspect. Because we don't really know who the hooded figure was. Huh? Why didn't a problem appear? Not only was there no problem, no choice appeared either. Master, maybe you don't even know which mystery to start with to solve this case. Yeah, there's so many unknowns. I'm honestly feeling lost right now. Come on, you gotta know where to start with this stuff, or you won't be able to solve a single thing. Let's decide that for now. What's the first mystery of this case? The first mystery is the fact that Dr. Huska was murdered in a completely locked room with no way in or out. The doctor was located deep within a critical lab behind layers of security, and yet he was found stabbed to death. We were the first to discover the body at the time. We were controlling the robot Amapal. Because of that, we were thought to be the culprits, but we obviously weren't. So how did the culprit get in and out of the doctor's lab? That's what I don't know. But the culprit is definitely the hitman, right? I think so, but I'm not absolutely sure. Besides, even if the hitman did it, there's the question of who hired him. But there's no doubt that the hitman stabbed Chief Yako. That's the only thing I'm absolutely certain about. Ah! Peacekeepers! Kanai Ward's garbage. What are you doing here? Yomi Hellsmile? So the director of the Peacekeepers is here. Yeah, but he's just a part of the Mystery Labyrinth. I figured. In other words, he's a monster. Wait. Is that... Keep in mind, every time we see the phantom version of the Peacekeeper, they're different. Like, they have, like, a skin tone change or their hair color change. Yomi did not change. He is still the same as he appears in reality. I don't think this is a phantom Yomi. I think this is the real Yomi with us in the Mystery Labyrinth. I figured. In other words, he's a monster created from the labyrinth, right? Right. Oh, never mind. He is going to change. Okay, well, okay. You pieces of shit! You're disturbing the peace of Kanai Ward! This guy doesn't seem like an easy opponent, but we have no choice. For Chief Yako. For everyone. You killed Dr. Huska, didn't you? Turn yourselves in so I can torture you to death. Okay, I should have just clicked the next statement. But like, why was he the same? Like, usually they, like, before they have like their overpowered phantom forms, they're like some kind of like different pigmented dressed up version of themselves. You killed the useless Dr. Huska. You disarmed the security system in the doctor's lab. And then murdered him inside. So you actually entered the lab. The security system for the lab was active. It's impossible to bypass the system while it's active. In other words, no one can enter the doctor's lab. There couldn't be an intruder. Soichigayo, there was a shoe print on the robot. Someone was there. They were riding the robot. When the body was first discovered, Amapao was about to enter the doctor's lab, but something bumped into it and knocked it over. In fact, there was a mark on Amapao's head, like someone kicked it. That mark wasn't there when we borrowed it. It's proof that someone else was in the lab. Ha! You call that evidence? Is bullshit the only thing you could comes out of your mouth? Don't make me laugh. Little shit. There was an intruder? That's impossible. And in fact, you proved that yourself. What do you mean? We proved there wasn't an intruder. Ha! You still don't understand? Don't make me laugh. If there was another intruder, where did they go? By the time you arrived at the scene, there was no one else, right? There's no way you could hide in the critical lab. Soichigayo, he was in the vent. There was enough room for a person to hide in there. There's a hiding spot. It's inside the airlock's decontamination device. The vent cover can be easily removed, and there's just enough space for someone to fit inside. If they hid inside the decontamination device, we wouldn't have seen them when we arrived at the scene. So what? You've got it all wrong anyway. Everything is wrong. Your existence is all wrong. Have fun chasing the fake truth you found. He really hit me with like several RDMs in just one go. But I guess it had to be enough to like convince that like there was someone there. So now we can probably answer the question because we have enough evidence that like, okay, there was someone there. We managed to defeat him this time, but it's not over yet. He sure is persistent, huh? Anyway, there's no doubt someone else was inside the doctor's lab. So let's unravel each mystery one at a time. All right, we'll get it this time. I'm 100% convinced I'm 100% convinced he rode the robot. He rode the robot. I'm pretty sure. And now I actually, because I was looking back because I'm already like editing this week's episode or whatever. I look back at like the investigation for this, and because I didn't remember it before, but now actually rewatching it, when we booted up the robot in the beginning chamber, like when we first initially booted up the robot, there was like a static like, and then Desuhiko was like, "What the heck? Is it already broken?" That must have been the intruder stepping onto the robot, like getting out of the vent that they were hiding in and stepping onto the robot. Because the robot would have, at the time, would have been positioned right over the vent that he hid in. So I think he got onto the robot, rode the robot when we were doing all the bullshit. And then he killed the doctor when we opened the door, because it also proves, because remember, the only way into the lab is through that like chamber of like traps. That is the only way. We even proved it. There is no other way to enter the lab. So the only way someone could have gotten in and killed him was when we opened it, because we also checked the logs, remember? The only time the door ever opened was when we opened it. So the intruder was riding the robot the whole time we were doing the thing. Now, how they got past the toxic gas, I don't know. But the way they would have gotten past the voltage, because remember, if we ever failed, now obviously I didn't fail because I'm perfect, but if we ever failed, Fubuki would have rewound time. And I wonder if our culprit would have known that. Or maybe they just would have, like, you know, expected us to, like, be perfect at it or something. I don't know. Maybe our culprit knows more about us than we think. Maybe it's someone we know. Come on, why does it have to be so sudden? Okay, now that we've wedged our way into this mystery, we just gotta head through the labyrinth and reach the truth. Was there an intruder? Yes. We're just now getting to the point. What a pain. Hey, don't sigh! This is a good thing! Sorry. Anyway, let's head inside. Obviously, we just proved that it had to have been an intruder. There was an intruder for sure. We know someone bumped into Amapal. The culprit probably hit Amapal on their way out. Or hit Amapal on their way out. After that, they must have intended to leave the lab. But they couldn't because we were in the front chamber. So they hid inside the decontamination device to avoid us. So, if you checked inside the decontamination device on the way to the scene, you would have caught the culprit then and there. Yeah, but it was an emergency, and we had no idea they were in there. It's super lame to make up excuses, Master. It's not an excuse, but it is true. If I had thought about why Amapal was knocked over at the time, I would have realized the culprit was in there. We could have waited and ambushed or searched for them. And if I'd caught the culprit then, Chief Yako wouldn't have gotten stabbed. Master, wallowing in regret is even lamer. If you have time for that, you have time to keep going. Right. Now, the thing is Chief Yako completely innocent in this case? That's something that, like, I'm still really stumped on. I feel like I, for the most part, understand how they committed the crime. I'm just very lost at who would have done it. Because, like I said, it could be anyone at the lab. We don't know the identity of the slaughter artist. But at the same time, like, I'm wondering if Chief Yako really is an innocent party in this. You know what I mean? Like, maybe he had a grudge with, like, both Dr. Huska, too, and whoever Fink the slaughter artist, or something, you know? Like, why would he need to get... If he was just an innocent party, why would he need to get stabbed? You know, unless, like, he, you know, scuffled with Fink. You know, maybe he was like, oh, who are you? And then scuffled with him. But, like, I don't know. It just seems, like, weird that he got stabbed. You know what I mean? Like, why would a hitman kill someone? Because that's the thing you gotta understand, and I hope the game logically thinks about it in this sense. Hitman do not kill people that aren't their targets. So, unless Chief Yako was also the hitman's target, he shouldn't have been stabbed. Like, no matter what, the hitman should not have killed him. Hitmen don't just fucking murder their non-targets. That's, like, bad business. Especially for someone who is hailed as a very Now, obviously, there's probably some hitman that are bad at their job and will, like, kill innocent lives to get to their target. Sure, you know, it's kind of like playing, you know, Hitman, like the game itself. And, like, if you go around and murdering people that aren't your target, you lose points, regardless of if they're, like, bad people or not. Like, even if it's, like, the bodyguard or, like, a bad person connected to your target, if you kill them and they're not a target, you lose points. Like, that's like, the realness of, like, a hitman. They only kill their target. So, unless you're telling me that whoever killed Dr. Huska also had a target on Yako, he should not have been stabbed. He would have been, like, you know, if Yako tried to scuffle with him, he probably would have, like, knocked him out or something, but, like, he wouldn't have stabbed him. I understand he's not technically dead yet, he's in critical, but, like, with a wound like that, like, he has slim chances of surviving. I don't know. I think about it logically in the sense of, like, what hitmen stand for. So it's like, it's leading me to think that Yako is not an innocent party in this. I think he had something to do with this case, so... Which leads me to believe that he could potentially have some involvement in Huska's murder. At least that's my logic. Really? Another fork in the path? How did the culprit enter the lab? Seems like we're finally at the central question. This is the first step to solving how the culprit committed an impossible murder. I leave the rest to you. I'm going to read a book or something. You can bring your own stuff into the... You could bring your own stuff into the mystery labyrinth? He's just special. Goofball. Okay, how did he enter? Invited by the doctor. Never enter... Okay, it's not never entered the first place. We just established there was an intruder and he was there. So that can't be it. I don't think he was invited by the doctor because... Well, we can't... But the clues point to deactivated security by cutting power. Like that, I mean, like that was a solution blade. I think it makes sense. Yes. Obviously, we know the power went out, so, like, this has to be it. We can't, with our solution blades, we can't confirm whether or not he knew the doctor or not. The culprit used the blackout to slip past security and into the lab. The answer is pretty simple. Almost too simple. Why is Vivia, like, jorking it? You see that? Also, he kind of got the ninja run going. I'm over here stroking my shit. I got lotion on my shit right now. I'm just stroking my dick. Huh? A trap? Guess you were wrong, Yuma. Well, I already knew that before you entered. What? Why didn't you tell me? You wanted me to tell you? You should have said so earlier. People only grow by learning from past mistakes, which is why I purposefully... Ah! Master, we have to get out of here! How do we get out of here? Use logic to show this route is the wrong one. All right, I'll try. Or not the wrong one, I think she said. Why is deactivated security by cutting power not correct? Please? Okay, all right, thank God. Whew. Whew. All right. The doctor said the critical lab was on a separate grid, and the lab switchboard wasn't in the electrical room. The security would have shut off, even if there was a blackout in the building. But perhaps they used it as a distraction. Well, I may have messed up, but at least we got a little closer to the truth. Maybe, but if you hadn't messed up in the first place, you wouldn't have come to such a lame excuse. I know. I'll do better next time. Well, no, like, I couldn't have been wrong because the game would have told me I was wrong, right? Or is it going to now take me back to, like, when I selected the other? Like, was I actually wrong? But I would have lost stamina if it was truly wrong, right? Oh, no, it was wrong. But I managed to not lose stamina because I had the right reasoning for... Unless they're all wrong. Is it gonna, like, do some bullshit like that? How did the culprit enter the lab? They had to have been there, though. They never entered. That seems so... Okay, invited in by the doctor. I'm sorry. I gotta say this. Never entered in the first place contradicts everything we just stated. He was obviously in the lab to commit the murder. Invited in by the doctor. Let's try that. I guess. Maybe I was right, like, with my first deduction. I'm surprised they let me go, though. The doctor invited the culprit in? The doctor invited the culprit in? But why? Things are so muddled now because I'm assuming the culprit forced their way inside. If the culprit was invited to the lab, then he easily would have been able to enter. Ah, so you think the doctor disabled the security. He wouldn't need it if he was expecting a guest. But that doesn't make sense. I think we have to just contradict all these. Like... Huh? This route is wrong too? Again? No need to worry, Yuma. I don't mind it at all if we can't find the way to move forward. Sheesh. Even I'm losing motivation. You can take care of this on your own, can't you, Master? Don't let him influence you! I think this is scripted. Because I'm not losing stamina, but they're saying I'm wrong. Why is invited in by the doctor incorrect? Because this one's the security log. Because it was never deactivated. He would have deactivated it if he was actually invited in. The log on the doctor's computer didn't show any signs of security getting shut down. If that's the case, he certainly didn't cut security just to let someone in. So I guess they're all wrong and we gotta prove why. No excuses, Master. Do it again. You're tired, Yuma. Why don't you lie down for a bit? Resting here wouldn't help me at all. But what the fuck, Richard? Like, how could it possibly be he was never there? Didn't we just prove there was an intruder? So how the fuck? Like, that was the whole RDM we just had with Yomi. Alright, I'll try never entered in the first place, sure. Apparently. I think we just have to... This has got to be scripted, right? Like... Because again, I'm not losing stamina by selecting these options. The culprit never entered? But you said there's no doubt the culprit was there. Perhaps the intruder is not the culprit after all. So you're saying that the doctor committed suicide? If the doctor committed suicide, then the culprit wasn't the intruder, but the doctor himself. But if the doctor did it, then would there be no intruder? The doctor was already in the... I think Vivia's actually saying all this, right? Oh, no. Okay, yeah, he was saying the other ones. The culprit never entered, but you said there's no doubt that the culprit was there. Perhaps the intruder is not the culprit after all. So you're saying that the doctor committed suicide. If the doctor committed suicide, then the culprit wasn't the intruder, but the doctor himself. But if the doctor did it, there would be no intruder. The doctor was already in the lab. Huh? What? This was the last route! This labyrinth is a tricky one. It's like one of these old detective novels. Perhaps you're the real culprit, Yuma. Really, Master? Of course not! Focus. We need to get out of here. Why is doctor committed suicide not correct? There's a stab wound in his back. There's no way you would kill yourself by stabbing yourself in the back. It's like really hard to do. That's right. The doctor was stabbed 3 times in the back. One stab wound would have indicated that he held the knife in place, then fell on it and killed himself. But he couldn't have made 3 wounds like that. There's no way it was a suicide. Maybe he just rolled around with it. What's going on? All 3 routes were wrong? I wonder what that means. They're trying to trick us. But in reality, was it Chief Yaka? Is he just pretending to be stabbed? No, I'm not going to jump to crazy. I'm tired of jumping to crazy conclusions. I mean, sometimes I'm right about them, but I feel like a decent amount of times I've been fucked up. Hey, there's another door. I get it. Since we proved that every possibility was wrong, a new one has appeared. Interesting. The mystery labyrinth not only materializes the case, but also changes based on the investigation. Right, something felt off about those other routes. It's almost like we were forced to choose the wrong way. But by eliminating each wrong answer one by one, you open the path to the right answer. You sound disappointed. Who cares? Let's just see what's the final route. Entered and killed via spectral projection? They used spectral projection to enter and kill him? Then the culprit is... I can't believe the culprit entered the lab with us. That's never happened before. How dare you trick me? There's no escape. Once the mystery labyrinth is solved, the culprit will be judged. Master, let's finish up this mystery labyrinth and boom, kill this dude. Hold on. You can't physically touch someone in spectral projection, though. It's not Vivia. It's impossible. You can't physically touch someone in spectral projection, and the only way to enter it is by sleeping. So your physical body is asleep and stays in the same spot. It's not possible. Huh? Another trap? That's why I said to wait. There's no way Vivia's the culprit. Then prove it and beat this thing. I won't be convinced until you do. The ghost form traits. I mean, it's also the only one that makes sense. But yeah, the ghost form traits. As heard from Vivia, the traits of ghost form are as follows. You cannot touch anything while using spectral projection. It cannot take over someone else's body, nor can it be heard. Ghost traits. That's a simple one. But yeah, like he couldn't have physically, and the only way to get out of spectral projection, because you could argue that it's like, oh, while you're in spectral projection, you could enter the lab and then unspectral project yourself, then stab him. But you can't do that. The way to get out of spectral projection is to return to your body where you're sleeping. So it's literally impossible for him to have done it. To begin with, nothing can be touched while in ghost form. He couldn't have held the murder weapon, the knife. So it's impossible that he stabbed the doctor. How do you now do you trust Vivia? Master, I've said this 1,000 times, but a detective must suspect everything. Besides, it's his fault for being so sketchy. The way he looks, how he talks, everything is super suspicious. His hair, whack. His jewelry, whack. His style, whack. The way does he like to talk, whack. The way he doesn't even like to smile, whack. Me, I'm tight as fuck. Sorry, I do try to stay out of sight. Anyway, let's go back. If he's not the culprit, then we're back to square one. Let's try going back to the fork in the path. Maybe something else changed. Oh, it's hot as hell in this hot-ass room I'm in. Is that the Grim Reaper? Nothing's changed. There aren't any new doors. What? There's nowhere to go! What was the point of eliminating all the other paths? Come on. Don't start with that again. How about you help us for a change? You better cooperate, unless you want to get chopped up by Master Solution Blade. Hold on, Shinigami. I don't want to get chopped up. I dislike pain immensely. But, you know, the journey up to now wasn't a waste. We did eliminate many possibilities, but that means nothing if we can't reach the truth. Nothing? Why? Do you want the truth in the first place? Huh? It's easy to say you want the truth, but are you sure you can handle it? You can't handle the truth. No matter how cruel that truth may be. Can I handle it? Okay, dude... Yako has to be involved. He has to be. Because I think Vivia knows more than he's letting on. Dude, I did say, like, man, he's... And that's the thing. Like, he might be the culprit of this and may die by our own hands. Hence the whole, like, you'll never see him again. He's gonna die. I will tell you this right now. He is definitely gonna die. There's no way he's coming back from fucking critical condition. I 100% believe, without a shadow of a doubt, that Chief Yako is gonna die. But, like, the fact that they're being so ominous about, like, like, can you handle the truth of this case, leads me to believe that Chief Yako ain't innocent in this, man. Like, it's gonna be some crazy plot twist where, like, people that we trusted are gonna be involved in this. I'm still not sure if you're the kind of person who can. I bet you're not sure either. That's why you're still so hesitant. This mystery labyrinth also reflects your reluctance. Maybe that's why you can't reach the truth. What are you talking about? I've said it before and I'll say it again. I won't hesitate to expose the truth. So you still haven't realized it. Guess you're not quite there yet. Well, it's fine for now, but eventually you'll be forced to make a choice. When that happens, you'll have to prove your conviction. and expose the truth, like you said. Enough nonsense! Let's find some clues. As an apology for the distraction, let me tell you something. This labyrinth appears to change shape by reflecting our investigation. So, instead of following the revealed path, isn't it possible to carve your own path? Carve my own path? That's right, Shinigami. We can create new routes with our own deductions. Maybe we can do it here. Sometimes just a slight change in perspective is enough to completely change how you see things. So if I change my perspective here, I might see something new. I see. I was so focused on how to overcome the security system, but that's not right. I need to change my perspective and think about who could have overcome it. Don't box yourself with your own assumptions. Okay, I'll give it a shot. I hate when the anemic vampire tells us what to do, but if Master wants to, then fine, I'll lend you my power. Lay it all out, Master. Oh God. What word are they gonna make me spell? Hopefully it's something I can actually spell. Please be lenient, Spike Chunsoft. You've been lenient on the last ones. It's possible if he had osteoporosis. You have to spell osteoporosis or something. Oh, fuck! How do you spell it? Who is capable of overcoming the security system? Pow. Oh, it's my bad. It's Amapal. Pow. There we go. Whew! Oh my God. Those are some funky words. Thank God I remembered the goddamn robot's name. Yeah, we should be doing tricks on it. We get stairs now. Look at that. Fancy. A new route appeared. Yay! This is all thanks to me. Perhaps I said too much. Well, nothing has been solved yet. I wish you'd express yourself a little better. How can you tell if you're ever happy or sad? I have never been happy or sad in my entire life. I want to die someday. This guy's hopeless! Anyway, let's explore this new route. Okie doke, boss. Well, we're really going in the attic. I didn't know this place had an attic. So much room for activities. When you think about who could possibly get past security, the only option we know is of Amapal. True. That's how we were able to get through security ourselves. But it's just a toy robot, right? How is it related to the case? I don't know yet. But since Amapal can get through security, it must be important. Thank you for the teleport. It's sealed off here, too. Hey, there's an intercom. Maybe someone will respond if you use it. No way. Huh? Doctor? Huh? Wait. What the? Wait! Who are you? Help! Somebody help me! Isn't this the footage of when the doctor was attacked? Yeah, you're right. Ah! The mystery materializes. It must be related to what the doctor just said. "Who are you?" was directed at who? So the question is, who did the doctor say, "Who are you" to? Well, I'll leave it to you. I don't get how you can keep reading at a time like this. Then no one. It's no one. It has to be. Because the culprit wasn't there either. So he was just delusional. The trap didn't activate? Does that mean we found the right answer? Huh? So the right answer is no one? Why would the doctor say, "Who are you?" if no one was there? The security was still active at the time, so no one could enter the doctor's lab, right? And that was before I borrowed Amapal, so the only explanation is that no one was there. Why would you say that if no one was there? I think if we go there, we'll find the answer. What? But that route's obviously just a side road. Who cares what the old geezer was thinking anyway? But it looks like this is the only way we can go. Besides, I am curious about what was going through his mind. It could be an important factor in solving this mystery behind this case. Still, being forced to take a side route is too much trouble. Makes me wish I was dead. So, Master, do you have any idea about what the geezer was thinking? Not yet, but I think it has to do with why he said, "Who are you?" I think the doctor was putting on an act. An act? Really? The doctor put on an act for a reason, but I have no idea why. We have to figure that out by going down the doctor's motive route. What? He's here too? You rats keep scurrying around. Do you really think you'll discover Dr. Huska's motive this way? Good luck with that, morons! He had no motive at all. Well, he said there's nothing here. Let's head back. We can't do that. If he's trying to block our path, this is the route. This route must be important. Fine. I'm only here because you maggots piss me off. So I'm going to end you here and now. That was the doctor's... What was the doctor's plan? He didn't have a plan at all. The exchange on the intercom was all an act. There was no reason to put that on. The doctor misunderstood. You probably don't know this. Huska put his soul in his work. The research was going well. The doctor was loyal to Amaterasu. Sroichigayo, no, he was in contact about leaving Kanai Ward. No, the doctor was planning on betraying Amaterasu Corporation. He was trying to escape Kanai Ward. He said so in a message he wrote. Ugh, you little... Oh god, dude, it is so freaking hot. It is hot as hell in this hot ass room I'm in. Let me readjust my positioning here. Yomi's rebuttal was... What was that? What was he trying to deny? Why was he covering up the doctor's motives? It seems that this case involves the inner workings of Amaterasu. Right, the doctor was going to betray Amaterasu, and whoever he was emailing knew that. So the doctor locked himself in the lab to protect himself from that person. Perhaps the doctor's act had something to do with that. Ah! It's the security gate. Everything's locked up. How did the doctor plan to escape Can-I Ward? Which means this is a complex problem. We have to choose the right door and insert the correct solution key. This is way more a hassle than before. Guess I'll leave it to you, Yuma. As always. Oh my god, no, wait, I'm stupid. I'm stupid. I'm stupid. No! It's this. Swapping places render the user unrecognizable. Oh my god! He was trying to swap places. He was gonna burn his skin. Ah, the door actually opened. I knew I could let Yuma handle it. Are you sure you aren't a phantom? When you can't even say my name, has the memory gone? Are you feeling I'm going calm? My name. So the doctor tried to swap places with someone else to escape from Amaterasu. The notes he left behind in the lab hinted at this plan. You mean the diagram with the sulfuric acid being poured on someone? Yeah, he was going to swap places with a corpse, then melt it with acid. Wait a minute. You're telling me his body double, it wasn't like actually a hitman, his body double killed him? Or maybe he was the body double. He wanted to disfigure it beyond recognition. That's how he planned to fake his own death. At the very least, I'd buy him enough time to escape Can-I Ward. Or so he thought. Wow! Melting a corpse with sulfuric acid? Yay! So cool and grotesque! So who is the substitute supposed to be? Maybe the hitman. The doctor was under surveillance by Amaterasu, but he was still looking for a chance to escape. When he learned a hitman was after him, he figured his chance had arrived. The doctor was hoping to use the security system to kill the hitman and use the body as a decoy. Now that I think about it, the doctor did seem to be waiting for the hitman to arrive. The hitman hasn't arrived yet? When will he show up? Don't tell me this so-called first-rate hitman was captured by peacekeepers. But the hitman never did show up. That's why the doctor had a sudden change of plans. And that was the act he put by asking, "Who are you?" Perhaps that was a trap to lure you in, Yuma. He was trying to lure Master? He considered taking advantage of the detectives ever since the hitman ever showed up. So, if he called for help, you would charge into the lab, not knowing anything about the security system, and thereby acquire the corpse he needed as his decoy. That seems overly complicated, like those guys who overthink asking girls out. Well, women are complicated. Well, he could have used another researcher. Someone would have noticed their absence. He couldn't have used another researcher. Someone would notice their absence. He needed visitors, people from outside to pull it off. Maybe that's why he was also like a woman, because he probably couldn't use like a female body, otherwise like it wouldn't have like matched his like body description. Because remember, he was like a female detective, so like, you know, he was probably like gauging our bodies. You know what I mean? But also, obviously, like Yuma and Desuhiko were really short. So like, we probably wouldn't have been good fits for him anyway. But that's probably why he was like gauging our bodies. Like he was gauging our body size to see if he could like use us as the corpse, as the replacement. So if I didn't know about the security and had rushed into the lab, you'd be a super sexy skeleton right now. Aw, so close. You want that? But the doctor's plan failed and he actually got boom killed by the hitman. I get what he was trying to do, but what about the impossible murder? Assuming the attack on the doctor was just an act when we saw him through the intercom, we at least know for sure the real attack hadn't happened yet. In other words, the culprit entered the lab after the exchange. So the problem is, when did they actually enter? It had to have been before we even showed up at the door, right? Where are we? This place is a real mystery. Then again, I suppose that checks out. Huh? Shinigami? Yeah, Master! This looks like an important turning point! So, is that your final answer? I haven't said anything yet. The culprit entered the lab before Amapal. Master, you need to narrow down the timing for when the culprit got inside. Now then, here's our fateful fork in the road. It's life or death. We're at the crossroads of mystery and solution. This earth-shattering choice may be your last. Now, Master, which one will you choose? The culprit entered the lab before Amapal. What do they mean by lab? Are they talking about, I'm assuming they are talking about the doctor's lab. The culprit entered the lab before Amapal. Or do they just mean like the like in general, like his like deacon, like everything? The deacon. See, this is where I'm getting confused. Because to set up the whole thing about him riding, like my theory is he rode the robot as we did all the traps and then opened the door, and that's when he got into the actual physical room with Huska. So he had to have been there before we ran and got Amapal. Fuck it. Yes. When I directed Amapal to go to the doctor's lab, he already had a knife stuck in him, which means he was murdered before Amapal entered the doctor's lab. Your answer? Is correct! Congratulations, Master! Would you like it to double down? What are you talking about? Anyway, let's keep going. Is this supposed to be like some kind of game show? I'm your man, Steve Harvey. Welcome to Family Feud, everyone. I'm your man, Steve Harvey. Little by little, we're narrowing down when the culprit entered. Yeah, but we still don't know how yet. It had to be between when we spoke to the doctor over the intercom and when Amapal entered his lab. During that time, the culprit entered the doctor's lab and murdered him. So the most likely time would be when you borrowed Amapal, Master. The culprit had to have entered the lab then. But Fubuki waited at the front chamber while Desuhiko and I went to borrow Amapal. She said no one entered or left the lab. Well, that's when he hid in the fucking thing. Or whoever the culprit is. I guess I can't necessarily say he, because it could be a she, but... Huh? We're back on the original path? Maybe you're supposed to try opening that door now. I'm sure that from here on out, it's not just about when, but also how the culprit got in. Yuma, there's no need to push yourself if things get too hard. No, I can do it. I'm going to solve it. Where was the culprit before the crime? This is a map of the critical lab. So we have to determine where the culprit was before the murder. We'll have to solve them one at a time. Let's start with this mystery. If we know where the culprit was before they got in, this route will be clear too. Do you know where, Yuma? What the fuck? What am I looking at? Where was the culprit before the crime was committed? right? That was the ventilation, right? Dude, like, if you don't know the fucking map layout, like, you are so cooked. The culprit must have been here. He was hiding in the vent. I know that. Yay! It opened! After the exchange on the intercom, given there was always a detective at the front chamber. When we went to borrow Amapal, the culprit had to have already made their way inside. But the airlock is the only location that isn't affected by the security system. There, the culprit had to be inside that decontamination device before committing the crime. Okay, so I definitely think I was right. I think I was right that he rode the robot. But I thought he was just hiding in there to avoid being spotted after the crime. So you think the culprit was in there before the crime too? Yeah, the culprit was waiting for their chance. But we had no idea when we sent Amapal. We had no idea when we sent Amapal into the airlock. And from there, Yuma, you guided Amapal to the doctor's lab. So the culprit entered the doctor's lab before then? How would that be possible? Only Amapal could get past security, right? Yeah, that's the next big question. Maybe the culprit used another Amapal unit. No, the researcher mentioned there was only one functioning Amapal. Which means the Amapal Yuma control was the only one that could get past security. So the culprit must have taken advantage of Master's Amapal to get into the doctor's lab. Yeah, that's the only way, but how did they use it? There's no solving the doctor's murder until we figured that out. Well, I have an idea. Will you hear me out? Or, I think he said, what is it? How about giving up? I'm getting tired. Nope, motion denied. I'm sorry, it's so hard to, like, understand who's speaking. Another fork in the road. Such a complicated mystery labyrinth. How did the culprit use Amapal? Okay, this one should be easy, because this should be my answer to, yeah. Beyond each problem lies the truth. We're definitely getting closer to the heart of the mystery. As a weapon, as a shield, no. Neither. He wrote it. He wrote on top of it. Do you think neither is really the right answer? Given the process of elimination, that must be it. Amapal's hands aren't designed to hold anything, so it couldn't use the knife to murder the doctor, which means Amapal wasn't the murder weapon, and the culprit couldn't have used it as a shield. It can't neutralize the toxic gas, and the high voltage shock would destroy it. So then, how did the culprit use Amapal? I think we'll find out if we continue down this path. Ah! Huh? That was the wrong answer? Come on, Master! No, it's not. Come on, game. Stop with this bullshit. I know I'm right. You know I'm right. I would have lost stamina if it was wrong. Ow! Huh? We've been here before. It looks like we've been brought back. But the door we opened earlier is closed again. Why's that? Yeah, I wonder why. New question? Where was the culprit before the crime? Huh? Even the question is the same. Does that mean we gotta do it all over again? Well, the logic is still sound. There's no other hiding spot for the culprit besides the airlock. So, do you want to choose the same answer and keep going? If you do, you'll just repeat the whole process again. We'll just be brought back here if we can't figure out how did the culprit use Amapal. And I refuse to walk any more than I have to. Hey, don't sit down! What should I do? Stand up! Stand up right now! Stop it. Leave me alone. If you want me to leave you alone, then help my useless master out. Fine. Just one thing, then. We're back at where was the culprit before the crime. Because you're stuck at how did the culprit use Amapal. With that in mind, these two questions are connected. Connected? Both the culprit's location and how Amapal was used? Help him out more! More! The culprit was hiding in the airlock where you also left the robot, right? At the moment, only the culprit and Amapal were there, so maybe the culprit did something. The culprit did something to Amapal? Clues are always there, right under your nose. It's a detective's job to notice them. Did you notice anything? There it is, the static. Remember the static when we booted up? He wrote on top of it. Did you notice anything strange back then? Any tiny detail? Try to remember. Something strange. Hey, now that you mention it, back then... Hey, the screen lit up, so this is what Amapal sees. It's like the cockpit of a mecha. Whoa! What was that? Did it break already? I thought this was state of the art. No, it's alright. It's stabilized. There was a moment when the camera stopped functioning while I was controlling Amapal. It returned to normal pretty quick, but maybe... See, I told you it was right under your nose. You don't need any additional help from me, right? That was a clue to help solve this mystery? Actually, everything in this world is a key to solving mysteries. You just haven't noticed them yet. Perhaps there is more you're overlooking. Was there anything else unusual? Something unusual. Something I missed. Anything else? It's not like Amapal's camera showed the culprit. Wait, that's it! Huh? Now that I think about it, wasn't that strange? The culprit must have gotten ahead of Amapal, but why didn't they ever show up on the camera? If the culprit went past Amapal to enter the doctor's lab, they would have been spotted for sure. Now that you mention it, but nobody showed up on the camera. How did the culprit manage to pull that off? How can you move from the airlock to the doctor's lab without ever appearing once on Amapal's camera? Hey, aren't you just adding another mystery? No, all the pieces are here. Huh? Yuma, the mysteries you face now can be solved with a single answer. A single answer. Sheesh, I talk too much. How did the culprit use Amapal? Why did the culprit appear on the camera? It didn't appear on the camera. What caused Amapal's malfunction in the airlock? Whoa! One mystery after another. What do you do now? It's a Pandora's box of mysteries. Let's calm down and think about it. There's plenty of time. Or not. I'll keep reading while you wrap things up. Remember what he said, Master. All it takes is one answer to solve these mysteries. Use those weak brain cells of yours and think! Culprit's location, Amapal's usage, its malfunction. Why didn't the culprit appear on camera? All of this can be solved with just one answer? On top of Amapal's head! As transportation! The culprit jumped on it! They were on top of his head! I got it! The culprit rode on Amapal's head, using it as a method of transportation. The door opened! With every open door, it will be harder for you to turn back. Are you sure you want to keep going? Absolutely. I will find the truth no matter what. This is for the Nocturnal Detective Agency. I think Vivia knows about Yako's involvement. Hey, you said the culprit rode on top of Amapal. What did you mean by that? Literally what I just said. The culprit rode Amapal and used it to get through. After we left Amapal in the airlock, the culprit came out of the decontamination device. Then they jumped on Amapal's head. The distribution in the footage was from that action, I think he said. That's insane! Is it? I think it's fairly reasonable. Amapal can withstand up to 100 kilograms of weight, so someone riding on it shouldn't affect its functionality. The shoe print on Amapal's head wasn't caused by someone kicking it. It was left there from the culprit hopping on and off. After that, the culprit simply rode on as it moved toward the doctor's lab. By doing so, the culprit was able to evade the camera and remain hidden as they made their way through the lab. You're right. If that's true, then it does solve all of the previous mysteries. Imagining the culprit riding a robot makes me laugh. Also, it does make me laugh because remember when we were doing the robot thing and I was just like hitting all the jingles and stuff? Like, I can't imagine the culprit having to be like this fucking guy, can you stop playing the jingles? But Yuma, have you not realized it? You're still missing something. One major mystery remains. What's with that huge sigh? The greatest mystery of this case should appear soon. Just the thought of it gets me feeling down. This case's greatest mystery? Who would have been able to bypass the security as they wrote it? Ah! Like get through the toxic gas, get through the electrical shit. How would they know how to get through all of that? This is the panel chamber. That means the doctor's lab is just beyond it. If we can get through here, we'll reach the goal, yeah? When did the culprit get off Amapal? After we had opened the door. Is this the greatest mystery you mentioned? Not exactly what I was envisioning. Well, this is the mystery to be solved, so let's clear it out. When would it have been possible for them to get into the room ahead of us? When going through the door. Because that's when they... Whoa! What the... Was that wrong? Oh, you know what? You're right. Well, I figured they would have that's like the whole reason why they kicked it over. But no, you're right. While opening the door, because remember, you can't turn your head. The culprit murdered the doctor before Amapal entered the room, which means the culprit had to have gotten ahead of Amapal at some point. It was when the door first opened, and in that moment, the culprit snuck into the doctor's room. Yeah, when the doors were slowly opening just like this, that's when the culprit took their chance. Right, the moment there was enough space for the person to slip through. The culprit hopped off and went inside. Like this. Like this. You know, you got me when I was being dumb with the glasses in, like, the Etheria Academy case, but that one, no. That one, my logic is, like, foolproof. That does not make sense, and I think it's just the game logic telling me, well, we need to use these solution blades to continue the game. You know what I mean? Like, we have to use these solution blades, so realistically, the culprit had to have entered while you were opening the door. But, like I said, they could have been caught on camera that way. I'm sorry, like... Because we proved the fact that they were not on camera because they rode the robot. Now you're saying, oh, he got off the robot at some point, leading to the potentiality of getting caught on camera. Like, you now just disproved a fact that we proved. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, of course, if I'm logically not making sense, you can just call me an idiot in the comments or whatever. But, like, am I not making sense? Like, it should have been when the robot fell over is when he kicked off and killed the doctor. Realistically. Anyway. Huh? We still haven't reached the goal? I thought we could get into the doctor's lab now. Is this a joke to you? Your deduction is full of holes. If this is a joke, it's not very funny. Master, you know what to do. Of course. You know what to do with that big fat butt. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Yuma, this is no time to throw it back. Master, this is no time to throw it back. Also, you're not doing it right. I'll take your garbage deduction and toss it into the trash. I am the saint of Kanai Ward, protecting it from filth like you. Whatever, game, I'll accept it. Call me a fucking idiot, whatever, I get it. The culprit hopped off Amapal at the door and slipped through the gap in the door? That's impossible even for Fink the Slaughter Artist. Think about it. Suichigo, he can't turn his head if his arm's extended. Holy fucking shit. That was a tough one. There was so much white noise and bullshit, dude. Amapal is designed so that when its hand is stretched out, it won't execute any other inputs. That's why when I was pressing the button for the door, the culprit didn't show up on the camera. Ugh, you little maggots! Don't get so full of yourselves. You're not getting out of here alive. Oh my god, dude. I'm like... I get it. So Amapal couldn't move while the door was opening. That's when the culprit took their chance. Also, just that last RDM was fucking ridiculous. Since the doors open outward, it's possible to take advantage of the blind spot. That's how the culprit managed to stay outside the camera's view as they entered the door's room. So it's an elaborate murder that took advantage of Amapal's design and even the direction of the doors open? Whoever planned this must have really wanted the doctor dead. I guess you could call it an obsession. How scary, just like this passageway. Where will it take us? Perhaps a suite with the culprit's obsession on full display. A room of nightmares? Knock it off with the weird soliloquies! Let's go! You're really going? Huh? Again? What's with this thing? Hey, Yuma. When the culprit entered the doctor's room while the door was open... Huh? Yeah? At the time, the doctor was in the room, right? If the door opened and the intruder entered, how could the doctor not have noticed? So, what if he did notice? It's not a big deal. Yes, there would have been a struggle then, but he was stabbed in the back. Yes, it is. If he had noticed an intruder, the doctor would have turned and faced him, which means he wouldn't have been stabbed in the back. That piece of trash is right. Your logic is flawed. Hey, what? You're on the Phantom side now? Listen to my incredible words of wisdom. Your crappy deduction is worth less than shit. Everything you do is a fucking mistake. I'm not stupid. You're stupid. Damn it! Damn it! Your deduction is inconsistent. It's full of inconsistencies. By your logic, even if the doctor could be stabbed, it would be from behind. Let's take a look at that, shall we? Consider the following. No, the culprit did stab the doctor in the back. That's how the body was discovered. That's why I'm saying your deduction is inconsistent. By your logic, the doctor couldn't have been murdered in that way. He's deaf. He's deaf! The culprit quickly entered the lab. He's deaf. But the doctor was in the room the whole time, correct? There's no way he missed an intruder. Running is noisy. So Husko would have heard and turned to face the culprit. And his chest would have been stabbed on not his back. Unless you think the doctor was asleep. Is there any trace of him being drugged? Even if he didn't look back from his desk, he would have heard someone coming. Soichigayo no, he's deaf. Wait, the doctor had trouble hearing. That's why he didn't notice the intruder. Now you're spouting nonsense. Say whatever you want, it won't save you. There's a gaping hole in your logic, and there's no way you're going to fill it at this rate. Because you, more than anyone else, you're the one refusing to see the truth right before your eyes. Okay, what does everyone mean by that? Is Yako the culprit, dude? Is somehow he like a body double or something? What? I refuse to see the truth? Vivia said something the same thing, but it's strange, don't you think? It's all about the time you notice that something's off here. It's about time you notice something's off here. Huh? You've solved many mysteries up until now, yet none of them are directly connected to the culprit's identity. That's because the culprit is the hitman. If that's the case, why haven't you reaped the hitman's soul? That would end the labyrinth. It's not that easy. The culprit will fight back unless we solve all the mysteries first. Hang on, what are you getting at? In my eyes, the reason a single mystery hasn't been directly connected to the culprit is because of Yuma's reluctance. It's pushing away the mysteries that lead to the culprit. Huh? Subconsciously, you're closing your eyes off to the truth. That's why you haven't touched on the hole in your reasoning. What hole? Whatever, that's enough. Just ignore this guy and keep going. Hey! Dude, it's Yako, isn't it? Don't fucking tell me, dude. It's Yako. Yuma. Jeez, go away! You know what I'm talking about, don't you? The huge hole in this investigation. What are you... Just ignore him! Let's review your deduction, shall we? The culprit took advantage of Amapau's locked position and entered the lab. And before the robot entered the room, that person stabbed the doctor from behind. However, they bumped into Amapau while escaping, causing it to fall over. That was obviously a mistake, but since it wasn't captured on video, they were able to avoid detection. After that, the culprit went inside the decontamination device in the airlock to hide from you. That's correct. So what's the hole in my deduction? Before all that, it remains the case's greatest mystery. Which is, how did the culprit get past security? What? 'Cause yeah, the gas chamber. We already told you that! The culprit rode on top of Amapau as Master controlled it and was taken all the way to the doctor's lab. But if someone was riding on it, how did they get past the high voltage shocks in the panel chamber? Oh! Well, technically Fubuki's forte. They would have been saved. Even if they died to the electric shock, they would have been saved with Fubuki's forte. I do think it was a clue. Oh, that's why. That's why the game gave us a clue again. Because I remember Yuma's dialogue. He was like, oh, I don't know if it's going to be, like, as important, but it might be useful to remember everyone's forte. Because we would have saved the culprit in the voltage chamber. Even if we failed the voltage chamber and they died, they would have been brought back to life because of us. This is the end for you. You have nowhere left to go. Oh, come on! Why now? I won't let you maggots ruin the peace of Kanai Ward. As the king of Amaterasu Corporation and the guardian of Kanai Ward, I will stop you here and now. Perhaps this, too, is an obsession. Why does he insist on covering up the truth? Tell me, what will you do, Yuma? Are you going to stay willfully blind? No, I'll fight. Whether it's subconscious or not, I won't look away from the truth. I'll find the truth no matter what. This is for Chief and everyone at Nocturnal Detective Agency. Okay, and he signs, dude, the agency is in on it. I think it's just Chief Yako. Because I can't imagine someone like Fubuki going around and having a grudge and killing people, because she's just, no offense, she's just kind of airhead and stupid. So, like, I can't imagine, like, all of Nocturnal Detective Agency is involved. But I think Chief Yako is. Good luck! You'll never find it! You'll scurry around this labyrinth forever like blind mice. You'll rot away in here looking for an answer that will never come. If this is specifically going to be Fubuki's forte. Keep playing with your shit deductions. You still haven't solved the greatest mystery. How did the culprit get past the security? The critical lab security system was always live. There's no way to reach the doctor. The panel chamber's shocks would have fried the culprit. That security system. No living human can break it. Sweetie-go, they would have been brought back to life with Fubuki's forte, even if they died. A human can get past the panel chamber by using Fubuki's forte. In fact, that's how we got past the panels. The high voltage shot kept destroying Amapal. Well, actually it didn't, because I'm just fucking goated. But we reversed time every time that happened. Correct. So whenever it was struck by the current, you went back in time. But while that was occurring, the culprit, a human, was riding on top of Amapal. That person was burnt to a crisp every time you failed. But, which means you killed the culprit over and over again. Vivia? If only you had chosen to remain ignorant. If only you'd walked beside you. If only I would have walked beside you in silence. But if you intend to seek the truth, then I must stand in your way. What are you doing? Why are you doing this? He's going to betray you, Master. Betray me? It's up to you, Yuma. This is your final chance to save the world you believe in. What are you going to do? It's time you decide your past and your future. Why, Vivia? He's gonna become a phantom? Let me ask you. How did the culprit bypass the toxic chamber? It's impossible to avoid the gas. The culprit would surely die. You should know this already. The gas has a special trait. The gas can seep through even a gas mask. No ability can nullify its toxicity. Once it hits you, you're done for. You die before reaching here. Nope, it's 30 minutes! Suichigayo, you can kill someone, but you would still die from the poison. You would have just enough time to kill someone. Oh my god. Oh my god, no. No, they're gonna do it to me. They're gonna fucking do it to me. No, I think I know what they're getting at. No, I think it was Yako, man. Oh my god. Because he's gonna die regardless. Who would care if he got stabbed? Oh my fucking god, no, dude. I think it's Yako. I think it's Yako. No! Why would he do it, though? It has to involve the picture of his like lover or whatever. Remember the bloody picture? He had a map of the place too, remember? He knew about the security. Oh my god, it's Yako. It's fucking Yako, dude. It has to be, right? That's what the game's getting at. And that's why Vivia keeps saying like, can you handle the truth? Oh my fucking god, dude. I think Yako did this. Oh my fucking god. Because it wouldn't matter if he got... Now, I don't understand the whole, like, stabbing thing. Maybe that was, like, you know, Yomi stabbing him and getting away with it or so. I don't fucking know. But, like, it wouldn't fucking matter because the deed was done. I think he went in knowing the risk and, like, he was gonna fucking kill the doctor no matter what. Probably something involving his backstory. I don't know. Dude... Oh my god, like, Yako is... he's at least, like, prime suspect now. I don't know if it was truly him, but dude. Oh my fucking god. With all the context clues we're getting, it's... I'm so leaning that this was Yako, dude. If you pass through the toxic gas, you'll die. But you'll have 30 minutes before it kills you. Which means you could survive for 30 minutes. What? Don't tell me... There was no gas mask here that could block the toxic gas, and no fortes that can nullify it. So there's only one way you could get through it. You do nothing. You would do her in hopes that Amapao taking you to the next room. Ugh! Then the culprit didn't do anything to counteract it, and they just passed through the toxic gas? It's the only explanation that makes sense. This is the truth. I can't believe it. But if the culprit really did just endure the toxic gas, then the culprit is... It appears you finally glimpsed the truth, Yuma. Well, how does it feel to have your world shattered before your eyes? Isn't this what you wanted? Huh? What's he talking about? Yomi's mystery phantom and Vivia are both right. Subconsciously, I didn't want to know the truth. Huh? Up until now, the mystery labyrinth was withholding the mysteries that led to the culprit. And that's because it's a reflection of my own reluctance. Master, what's wrong? Do you know who the culprit is? It's the hitman, right? The truth is worthless. Nothing has less value in this isolated, rainy city. No one wants the truth, not even you. Now run away and die right here. No one will get in my way. Can I, Ward? Amaterasu? They both belong to me! Bro. If the culprit carried out the crime, I think they would have died, I think he said. They should be dead from the toxic gas. Okay, that's what he said it. But no one died at the scene from poisoning. If you can understand that much, then what are you still doing here? You're right that no one in the lab died from toxic gas, but that was part of the culprit's plan from the beginning. They planned to distort the facts of their own death. Yuma, are you sure you want to face the truth? Your world will fall apart. The world that you believed in. Your deduction is wrong. Don't disturb the peace. Disturbing the peace. Sorry. It's not even worth debating. This is the best you can do to refute? Just give up. And die. Oh, come on, game. The culprit misrepresented death by using the hitman. The culprit realized their plan would be exposed if someone in the lab died from toxic gas, so they used the hitman to cover up their own death. Used the hitman? Meaning the hitman wasn't hired to assassinate the doctor. They were hired to cover up the culprit's death by toxic gas. Huh? The hitman's target was the culprit, not the doctor? Bro, I mentioned it before. He wouldn't have stabbed him if he wasn't his target, dude. I'm actually tearing up, man. I'm tearing up, man. No, I don't want to. I don't want to do it. He has to have a reason, man. But the doctor was stabbed by the knife with the inscribed F. Doesn't that belong to the hitman? All you would need is a similar knife. The story of Fink the slaughter artist using a knife inscribed with the letter F is well known. Nah, we leave it alone until we see for further orders. Did you see the knife stuck in his back? It's the one that Fink the slaughter artist uses, right? I've heard about his knives inscribed with the letter F. So, it was all a ruse? The real culprit made it look like a hitman did it? Stop! Stop, 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 you useless garbage! To hell with your detectives and the truth! I won't let you have your way in this city! There is no real culprit! Dr. Huska was killed by the hitman! Huh? What's going on? Who's the real culprit? The real culprit is... The time has finally come, Yuma. It's time for you to acknowledge what you've known all along. If the tiny crack spreads any further, the mirror will shatter, exposing the chaos of the real world. Knowing this, will you still expose the truth? Then show me your conviction! The clue is pointing to the identity of the hitman's target. I know. I've known. All along. Now expose the truth! Do it if you want to burn the world down! What was the clue leading to the true culprit? The bloodstained photo found in the hallway near the lab. There was a person pictured with a woman. That was the hitman's target, the real culprit behind this case. The bloodstain obscured the person's face, but I know who it is. It can only be one person. It can only be... How do you know? That person in the photo is the hitman's target. And who is it? It's No! Stop! Don't you dare say another word! No one wants the truth! I don't understand, but... Good luck, Master. I'm always on your side, haunting you. Who is the true culprit? Chief Yako. I fucking knew it, dude. I knew when he said it's the last time you'll see him. I knew he was gonna die, man. I really hoped it wasn't because he was the culprit, but... Huh? Why? Why's Fuzzhead here? Chief Yako was the only person attacked by the hitman in the lab. In other words, the chief was the hitman's target. But Chief Yako tried to hide that photo by tossing it behind the houseplant. He hid it, knowing it'd be an important clue. And that's because the person in the photo is Chief Yako himself. It was given to the hitman so he'd know his target, and the chief tried to conceal it. Which means the blood covering the face on the photo was likely done on purpose. Hold on, Master! Are you serious? You're really saying Fuzzhead is the culprit? Really? I don't buy it. You think he actually put together this elaborate murder? He's knocking on death's door just for this? I don't want to believe it either. But there's no other way. The anemic vampire is gonna throw questions at you back to back. Press the correct button when you think you've got the correct answer. You'll take damage if you avoid all assailing assaults. The phantom vanished. The truth has been mostly exposed, and the labyrinth cannot function much longer. Anything I do now might not matter, but I'll do it anyway. Because it's something I must do. While the chief takes his final breaths, Vivia, Yuma, if Chief Yako is the culprit, then what about the death threat? Dr. Houston must pay for his sins with his life. My blade shall be his atonement. Why would Chief send it if it was the killer? Answer me, Yuma. To make it look like the doctor was in danger. By sending that note, everyone would believe the doctor's life was in danger, which was necessary for the sequence of events to take place. All the master detectives headed to the secret lab because of that note. Chief Yako brought them here to take advantage of their abilities and murder the doctor. Huh? Their abilities? I knew it, and that's why he would have known. But the death threat wasn't just sent to the detectives. The peacekeepers received it too. What was the point of that? Why put them on high alert? What is the truth behind it all? Why was the death threat sent to the peacekeepers? Disguise? Ugh. The note was sent to the peacekeepers because they were also part of the plan. When the peacekeepers received the note, they dispatched a lot of their personnel to the scene. The master detectives were able to take advantage of the commotion to enter the facility. They did it by disguising themselves as peacekeepers. It would be convenient to have a lot of peacekeepers around if you want to get into the lab disguised as one. This is why the peacekeepers also received a death threat. Hey, you still want to do this? It's not too late to give up. I am well aware of the danger. I haven't gotten this much exercise in a long time, but this is something I must do. I can't leave the chief like this. Vivia. Let's continue, Yuma. So everyone disguised themselves as peacekeepers and entered the lab. You were already at the lab, and that's where you met up with Chief Yako, right? Yes, but we decided to split up after the blackout occurred. Wait, that blackout should have caused a commotion. If we leave now, the peacekeepers will see us. I knew it. This place is crawling with them. Oh, this place is crawling with them. What do we do? I'll draw their attention and buy you some time. In the meantime, you two hurry to that doctor. The chief said he'd buy us some time, but he actually went and hid inside the airlock. Was the blackout part of the plan? So the one who caused it, was that also the chief? It was the hitman, because he was there too. It was the hitman. They were working together. The chief was with me in the security room at the time of the blackout. It's impossible for him to have caused it. So the only person it could be is the hitman. It must have been part of the job. He instructed the hitman to cause a blackout at a specific time. But why? It made us think the doctor was in danger, so we'd go check on him. We used Amapal and Fortes to get through the tight security system. Chief Yako had it all planned out from the start. He used us to break through the security so he could kill the doctor. And that's why it had to be someone who knew our Fortes. It had to be someone that knew us. So Master using Amapal and the Sheltered Skank's time rewinding ability at the panel chamber, that was all part of Fuzzhead's plan? The only way to get past security was to use both Amapal and that Forte. The chief knew we'd figure it out. I think it's more like he trusted us. He trusted that we would arrive at that conclusion. I'm counting on you both. See you later. Trust? How could this be a trust thing? He was clearly taking advantage of you all. He gathered the master detectives using a fake death threat, then used their Fortes to commit murder. What a scumbag. He used you all to get away with murder. Out of all the criminals I've ever met, he's the worst coward of them all. Master, grab that coward and... Enough! Why? Why did it have to come to this? Chief Yako saved me. He took me in. I had lost everything, even my memories. Sure, he may have been a little pushy at times, but still, I really admired him. So why? Why did you do it? Is this about the woman in the picture? Chief, please tell me, There's no point in asking. That's just the mystery phantom. It's not the real Fuzzhead. Master, watch out! The phantoms are a reflection of the same people in the real world, right? Which means he should hold the same thoughts. The photo behind the houseplant. I don't know what the chief was hiding, but the photo must have been dropped by the hitman after he was done with it. The chief picked it up and used his own blood to obscure the face. He knew the truth would be exposed if that photo was found, so he hid it behind the potted plant. He left his blood on it, almost like he wrote a dying message. But in truth, it was actually a secret he wanted to keep hidden. Master, I think you know this, but to exit the mystery labyrinth, you will have to eliminate the culprit. Eliminate the chief? Are you really going to do this? After all the mysteries are solved, the chief back in the real world will die. But you saw yourself. Okay, pause on the seriousness. He's gonna die anyway. He got poisoned, so like it fucking matters at this point. He's dead anyway, so might as well finish the truth. Might as well get the truth and have his soul reaped. Maybe having his soul reaped will put him in a better afterlife. I don't know. Okay, resume. But you saw yourself, Yuma. The chief is already knocking on death's door. Will you still bury him in the name of truth? The chief took me in when I had no memories or anyone to turn to. I trusted him from the bottom of my heart. And now I have to end his life? You know, I liked it, surprisingly. The little bit of peace and quiet I found at Nocturnal Detective Agency. Vivia, you knew the truth behind the case from the very beginning? I had a hunch. Because of my spectral projection, I knew the chief had been planning something for quite some time, but I pretended not to see. I admired him and the world he had made. That's why you threatened me and you were so uncooperative in the investigation? I knew you would reach the truth eventually, Yuma, but I tried my best to keep you away. Exposing the truth won't save anyone, neither the chief nor you. Master, you've already come this far. You gotta finish this. What'll happen to the other master detectives if you die here? Didn't you say you wanted to expose the truth and save everyone? Vivia, you told me that the time would come when I'd have to prove my conviction. The conviction to accept the truth, no matter how cruel it may be. Now is that time, isn't it? Yes, and yet you intend to continue? If you're prepared for it. Hey, you better not get in Master's way! Yuma, do you remember when the chief's soul called out to us? Huh? Yeah, the truth is cruel. Never in history has the truth been known to be kind. But you know what? Turning your eyes away from the truth and living a lie is harsh too. In the end, you can never look away from the truth. As long as you live, you must face that pain. So really, what's the point of worrying so much about it? When you are lost, believe in your own heart. That way, even if things end up all wrong, at least you can stand proud. I always averted my eyes from the truth for my own sake, my own peace and quiet, but I could never say with conviction that I was proud of myself. In the end, I was just running away from everything. That's why I entrust this to you, Yuma. Entrust what? You signed a pact with the Death God in your desire for the truth. I want to see your conviction. As long as you don't stray from exposing the truth, I believe you'll be able to face it. Cruel as it may be, I want to see it through the end. That's why I followed you here. In that sense, we're accomplices. If you must bring down the chief, then I will lend a hand. I won't avert my eyes any longer. I, too, want to live with my head held high, because I, too, am a detective. Vivia. When you're lost, believe in your own heart. That way, even if things end up all wrong, at least you can stand proud. I understand, Chief Yako. Thank you for everything you've done for me. Who is the culprit? Chief Yako. Mystery unraveled. Step right up, step right up. Peacekeepers, a CEO, a research doctor, a hitman, and master detectives. 2 dead bodies, but lots of shady characters. Truth bombs are about to be dropped. Time for the deduction denouement. The victim in this case is one Dr. Huska. The incident features a sinister and meticulously detailed plot centered on the doctor. The old geezer was holed up inside a lab at Amaterasu HQ. He was a total hermit in the critical lab with a totally overkill security system. The culprit made thorough preparations beforehand to break through that system. Boom! Killing a shut-in is hard work. The humane thing to do is to reintroduce him into society first. Yeah, with that out of the way. Posing as a hitman, the culprit sent a death threat to the Peacekeepers, the detective agency, and the research lab. At the same time, they contracted a real hitman and had him infiltrate the research facility. They spilled the beans about Gramps being in danger to lure both the Peacekeepers and the detectives to the lab. You see, the master detective's presence at the scene was an indispensable part of the plan. It was how the culprit gained access to the research facility, after all. The hitman infiltrated the lab exactly as planned. And we arrived with Makoto at the same time. Stuff went down, blah blah blah, and Master got locked up by the Yomi guy. I was rescued by Desuhiko and the culprit, who were disguised as peacekeepers. With the real peacekeepers rushing around, the culprit took advantage of the turmoil to sneak into the lab. But after catching up with them, the power suddenly went out, separating the culprit from the rest of the group. The blackout itself was caused by the hitman, right? And getting separated was all part of the culprit's plan. Right. They used the blackout as an opportunity to hide in the vent in the airlock chamber. Afterwards, we headed to the critical lab to check on the doctor's condition, just like the culprit directed us. But since the lab has used a separate power supply, nothing strange had happened. The His whole "the doctor is in danger" spiel was an act, huh? He made a fool of you, Master. What a dick. But then, someone attacked the doctor while we were trying to talk with him over the intercom. We had to get into the doctor's lab. But at the time, the old geezer was playing games with us. And he even tried to kill you and the others with a trap. That bastard wanted to use your dead bodies. He really got you there, Master. I don't see why you're so happy about it. The doctor's sham made the case even more confusing. Even if we tried to get to the doctor, the critical lab was guarded by tight security. And the only way through was by using the Amaterasu. The culprit wrote it by emerging from the hiding place in their airlock vent and jumping onto the robot's head. All aboard the Amaterasu Express. First stop, a shower of toxic gas. Humans can't protect themselves against the gas, but since it's not instantly fatal, it wasn't a problem. Next up, the panel chamber and high voltage shocks. One wrong move and it was insta-death. But thanks to that sheltered skank, we got all the continues we want. So we managed a perfect clear. The critical lab was finally breached. The culprit had anticipated we would get through this way. They also knew that they would die over and over as a result. The camera feed was affected when the culprit jumped on. I should have realized what was happening. No use crying over spilt blood. On to the next thing. Where were we? Oh yeah, to open the door to the doctor's lab, Amaterasu had to reach out its arm and hit the switch. And when the door opened wide enough for a person to squeeze through, the killer snuck inside. Amaterasu can't follow any commands while its arm is extended, so the culprit didn't show up on the camera. Then, the culprit boom killed the old geezer using the same knife as the hitman. Gramps was pretty much deaf, so a backstab was pretty easy. Then, the murderer tried to leave the room before Amaterasu entered. But they knocked the robot over on the way out. Then, they went back into the airlock chamber vent. To wait for you and the others to go by! We entered the critical lab and found the doctor's body. The culprit used that time to get out of the vent and head for the hallway. That was when they were found by the hitman. And stabbed. They'd already been in contact with the toxic gas, so death was inevitable. However, dying by gas would expose them as the doctor's killer. So they hired a hitman to kill him, thereby concealing any involvement. I guess that means the killer completely trusted in the master detective's capabilities. They knew those powers would get them close to the doctor. But why were they willing to die to hide their crime? I can't say for certain. Was it pride as a detective? Did he simply not want his friends to know? Whatever it may be, I'm prepared to face the truth. The culprit who murdered Dr. Huska and even included his own death in the plot. Jaco Furio, it was you! Ha! I will expose the truth! You know what, though? Before he reveals his whole thing. You know what actually has me more confused than Yako being the culprit? Why did Yomi defend him? Why were peacekeepers even defending this? I mean, Yako just killed one of their own, technically. I mean, I know he was betraying Amaterasu, but shouldn't that be handled by Amaterasu? Why was Yomi covering up the case? Why was the head of the peacekeepers covering up the case? Unless Yomi has a play in it too. Maybe Yomi and Yako have history. Because it seems to me like he was adamant of, like, don't find the truth. Like, Yomi himself was like, don't find the truth. So I'm curious to see how Yomi is going to play into this. But why? Chief Yako, why? Why didn't you ever talk to us about this? Why did it have to end this way? Why didn't you tell us? Is this really what you wanted? Can you even hear me? It doesn't matter who it is. Exterminating the real culprit's soul and destroying the mystery labyrinth, that's why I'm here. Surging bloodlust. Overflowing despair. The brilliant soul of Shinigami shall expunge this cursed case. Death to all deplorables. Ruin to the vile mystery labyrinth. Luminous darkness, shining rainbow, glorious stellar spiral, Bella Fresco grand finale.